Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to our YouTube session. My name is Daniel. I'm the head of innovation at Flowlease, and today's session we'll be discussing about the non-compliance list released by NDPC. So, so on August 25th, the NDPC released some organizations' data on some national dailies. And many organizations that were on the list may have complied with some provisions of the NDPC Act, which is the Nigeria Data Protection Act 2023. So they are worried, why are we still on the list? So what we are going to be doing today is trying to explain how organizations that are on the list can be able to write to the NDPC, show their status of compliance, and also get their name out of the list. My name remains Daniel Oba, Head of Innovation at Flowlease Nigeria Limited. So now, the NDPC is the Nigeria Data Protection Commission. And if you've gone through the Data Protection Act, there are many requirements organizations are required to comply with. However, the recent publication by the NDPC focused on four key areas. And organizations that are yet to comply with those four key areas are seen as non-compliant. So this training session will help you understand what those four key areas are. And if you are yet to complete some of these major aspects when it comes to compliance, we are going to give you a guide on how to complete the process. So the first on the list of the NDPC is filing of compliance audit returns. As we all know, Section 6D of the Nigeria Data Protection Act 2023 mandates organizations to file compliance audit returns through a licensed data protection compliance organization like Flowlease. So many organizations may have filed their audit returns, and some may have not filed their audit returns. And one thing you must understand is only a consultant that is licensed by the NDPC can file audit returns on behalf of organizations. So if you engage an entity that is not licensed, you may have problem getting your audit trust mark, which is an evidence of a successful submission of your compliance audit returns. So the next thing the NDPC is also looking at is appointing a data protection officer. Now, every organization by default must have at least one staff designated as the data protection officer. You could also outsource this as a service to a company to provide you with someone if you feel that is more convenient in terms of the technical skills and costing, because you may also have to train your staff. So, but there have to be an evidence that you have appointed somebody as your data protection officer. So section 32 of the Nigeria Data Protection Act mandates that. So maybe your organization did filing, but you did not tell the NDPC that this is our data protection officer. You didn't inform the NDPC. So they will still flag your organization as what? Non-compliant. Now, take for example, you've done your filing, you've done your data protection officer appointment. Yes, the list is not exhaustive. You also have to show the NDPC the technical and organizational measures you are implementing to protect data. And that is what Section 39 of the Nigeria Data Protection Act is asking organizations to fulfill. So I believe we are going to have questions like, what are these technical measures? What are these organizational measures? That is why you should be on this session still through to the end. You'll be able to figure out what are the precise technical measures and organizational measures. You are free to ask your questions. We'll answer all questions before the end of the session. Now, the next thing that the NDPC is concerned about is evidence of registration as a data controller or a data processor of major importance, and that is covered under Section 44 of the Nigeria Data Protection Act. So what you also take out from this is that it is not every requirement the NDPC is focused on on the first list. So over time, more requirements will also be brought. And that's why you need an organization that is strategic, an organization that understands the law, an organization that is well positioned to help your organization not to be on the list, because it's embarrassing for a reputable brand to be seen as non-compliant. You are going to have brand reputational issues. You understand? So you don't want to be on that list. That's why you should work with a company that is positioned to educate your staff on the requirements of the Data Protection Act. You understand? So now, if you've done these four things and you are still on that list, it is very important you inform the NDPC that they have to take your details out of that list. So let us now look at the key reasons. I'll dwell more on 5 key reasons why organizations are on that list. Now, under the Data Protection Act and the General Application and Implementation Directive, organizations are classified as data controllers and data processors of major importance based on the nature of data they process and other standards as prescribed by the NDPC. It could also be based on the sector they do their primary business. So you need to be sure, where are we classified? Many people will initiate this registration process on the wrong cadre. Take for example, you are a business and you process data that are very minimal. Some people will still find themselves going to register as an ultra high organization, which is wrong because they are not supposed to be on the ultra high. And some organizations, they have sensitive data they process. They also operate on specific sectors that should be on ultra high. And they go to the extra high and register because they feel it's a little bit cheaper. You would also recall that the NDPC, over the last few days, have also notified organizations that went to register on the wrong cadre to complete their process. So that could also be the reason why you are on the default list. Also, just as I mentioned previously, you have to file your audit returns through a licensed data protection compliance organization. Don't just engage anybody. You need to find out, do your due diligence. Is this organization licensed? Their certificate, is it expired? Because you have to do your due diligence. If you don't, you may end up filing audit returns with the wrong consulting firm, and you have to start running up and down trying to, please, where's my audit trust mark? You start begging for what primarily you should get within 5 working days when you engage flow leads. So when you engage flow leads, once we are done with our audit, within 5 working days, you are 100% assured of receiving your audit trust mark, which is the badge that signifies your compliance with the Data Protection Act 2023. Now, another reason why some organizations are on the list is because they may have appointed a data protection officer, but they did not notify the NDPC of that process. So appointing internally is the right step, but informing the NDPC officially is what makes you to be compliant. So you have to appoint a data protection officer. You also have to inform the NDPC of the details of this person. Either the person is internal or external, NDPC have to be in the picture, who your compliance officer is for data protection. Now, another reason why organizations are on the list is that some of them have failed to complete their registration process. So when you log into the dashboard, you are supposed to see your compliance certificate, your registration certificate, right? If you don't see that, it could mean that your process is incomplete. So the fact that you have made payment when you are registering does not automatically make the process complete. It is when you see your certificate on the dashboard. So from time to time, you have to also log into the dashboard to see if there are emails or notifications from the NDPC, and you have to follow through with such notifications. Now, the NDPC from time to time visit the corporate websites of data controllers and data processors of major importance. And when they go to the website, one thing they are looking out for is your privacy policy. So with time, many organizations will be flagged because many organizations have failed to understand that a privacy policy is a minimum standard that should be on your website. And if you go to the privacy policy of organizations that are processing people's data in Nigeria, it is not in compliance with the law. A privacy policy is supposed to tell people what their rights are. A privacy policy is supposed to tell people the technical and organizational measures you are implementing. If there's cross-border data transfer, the privacy policy is supposed to flag it so that people are aware. So if you really want a privacy policy that is standard, reach out to Flowlist. We are always ready to support you. And we'll give you a privacy policy that is tailored to what you do, your industry, the nature of your business, the kind of data you process, and we'll give it to you within 5 working days maximum. Now, the next thing is NDPC from time to time always reach out to organizations that they find wanting in any of the requirements. If you recall, we only mentioned 4 requirements, and the requirements are more than 4, right? So over time, many organizations will also receive notifications, notices, and letters from the NDPC as regards their compliance status. So when the NDPC writes to you, it is not in your best interest to respond immediately. You need to talk with your consultant to guide you, because at the end of the day, you may respond and also put yourself into trouble. But you need a consultant to guide you. How do we respond? Do we really have all that we claim to have as our compliance status? So that the organization that is speaking on your behalf can be able to guide you. So when you receive a notification or notice or a letter from NDPC, don't just push it to your legal team. Your legal team has to be in the picture. Top management has to be in the picture. And a DPCO like Flowlist have to be there to guide you on what to do. So what are the technical measures that you have to put at minimum? There are many technical measures, but I'm going to stick on some common ones that organizations, irrespective of their size, can easily implement. One of those technical measures is evidence that you have network security or a firewall. This is a technical measure which you can show to the NDPC. We have a firewall and it's secured and it's doing what it should do in terms of securing our network. Another thing you need to look at is if you have data encryption fully implemented, both at rest and on transit, you can evidence that to the NDPC. Our data are secure because we encrypt our data. Then, if you have a system whereby audit trail is something that can be verified, that is also a technical measure. Now, let us move over to the organizational measures. Organizational measures will include things like training, specialized training for staff. The next thing you need to look at is your policies, your data privacy policy, your data protection policy, your data retention policy. You also need to look at your vendor management because you will be working with a lot of third-party vendors. How do you ensure that the status that you have achieved in terms of compliance, your third-party vendors are also keying into that by making sure they are filing audits, by making sure they register with the NDPC, by making sure they appoint a DPO. So you need to be able to show that, yes, third parties that you have engaged are compliant. So these are the organizational measures. The list is more than this, but for time's sake, we have to speak on those ones that are very common. Another organizational measure you have to put is appointing a DPO, which I've talked about. Making sure that you collect consent, right? And you evidence the fact that you have a track of this consent. When the consents are withdrawn, You implement the necessary procedures. Another very important organizational measures is a data privacy impact assessment that should be done on your processes. So a DPIA, if you have it, that can back up your reports that you are compliant. So moving forward, it is good you reach out to Flowless to give you a guide, a template on how to get your organization out of the non-compliance list, because you've been given 21 days. After 21 days, the NDPC can impose a penalty on you. And at that point, it will be justified because you have been given enough time to complete the process. Completing the process by getting audited is fine, but you also need to communicate to the NDPC in a way and manner that shows full compliance. So you can reach out to Flowless, you can visit our website, send us an email, or send a WhatsApp, or do a direct call to any of the numbers you can see on your screen, right? And we'll be able to guide you on how to get your organization out of that list. And also, we can also support you in making sure your brand reputation does not get affected, because when you open the dailies and you see non-compliant organization, the first thing you want to do is, I don't want to do business with this organization. So we'll also give you strategy on how to manage this, you understand, so that your customers, your potential clients, your investors will not see that list and now begin to doubt your competence. So we are going to help you repackage your brand so that you are seen as a compliant organization, not just for data protection, but every other way that is required for your industry. So do reach out to us, talk to us. This is our field. We are experts in data protection. We've done this for practically all sectors in the Nigerian economy, from finance to healthcare to ministry department and agencies to consulting firm, even to education sector. We have our footprint. So reach out to us so we can guide you as a professional. When you want to go for your medical checkup, you go to the best doctor. So why do you want to engage a quack to handle your personal data and the data of your customers? Always work with professionals. Thank you. So keep your questions coming. You can also follow our social media handles. We have a lot of resources that can educate your staff. If you go to our YouTube page, we have so many learning materials. If you go to our Instagram page, we also have content. If you go to our TikTok, we also have content that can engage with your customers and your employee, because your customers and employees should be data privacy aware. You understand? So they don't form that weak link that leads to data breaches. You understand? So follow our social media handles. Now, when you want to comply with data protection, there are many things that you want to look out for. But for the NDPC, they are practically looking at four key areas in this first phase of the non-compliance organization that was published. So we are going to offer you services tailored to that. And if you want additional services, we are open to that. So what we are offering is we'll help you file your compliance audit returns within 5 working days maximum, right? And you will get your audit trust mark. We'll also help you with your registration and complete it in the right cadre. Because yes, anybody can tell you I can register your company, I can do it myself, but are you doing it properly? We'll also give you a template that you will use to communicate with the NDPC so they can strike your name off the non-compliance list. And also, we'll give you a draft appointment letter for your data protection officer. There are minimum things that should be on your data protection officer appointment letter, and you want to follow that standard, right? To also evidence, we'll give you a guide so that you can use that to be able to communicate properly and professionally to the NDPC. So keep your questions coming. I think it's time for questions. Don't forget, you can reach out to Flowless. We are open to partnership. We're open to helping you fulfill your data protection compliance requirements. So we'll be taking questions. Please, questions. Okay, someone is asking, Deborah, how do you inform NDPC to take your organization name out of the defaulters list? That is why you should engage Flowlist. You understand? If you are a Flowlist client, reach out to us if you're on that list. But I doubt if our clients are on that list because all our clients, we take our time to make sure that they are not on the default list. So if you're on that list, you understand, please reach out to Flowlist, you understand, and we'll give you a guide on how to get your name off that list. The next question is, how do we inform NDPC that our filing is done? You don't inform NDPC that your filing is done unless there's need for you to show evidence. Because once you do your filing, NDPC will acknowledge it, right? So NDPC is like the first person who is even aware of your compliance, and they now issue you your audit trust mark. So once you do your filing with the right consulting firm, NDPC is aware. So if you see yourself on that list, it means that there's a problem with your filing, right? Either it was not done properly, or it was done by someone who is not a consultant, or maybe it has not been done at all and the person has collected your money. So NDPC will be aware of your compliance status once your filings are complete. Now, does NDP trust mark means NDPC has been notified? That's coming from Teniola. Now, if your organization is on the default list, you know you are doing your filing off the compliance period because you are supposed to do your compliance filings maximum March 31st of every year. So organizations that are doing late filing, it is better you also write officially to the NDPC, and you need to write to the right email so it is treated on time. Many of you just send emails to NDPC. There are different departments in NDPC, right? You need to communicate to the right department, right? So that's why you should reach out to Flowlist, right? So we'll tell you this is how you communicate, this is the email you should send it to, this is who you should copy, and this is how you should get your feedback. You understand? So if we have you as our consultant, do we still need certified someone in-house? Yes, your consultant is external. Your internal staff is required. For your organization to remain compliant, you need somebody in-house to be able to follow through with departments and units. So the law makes that required. So you have a data protection officer who you have to train and also get certified. Do you understand? How much does your training cost? Okay. Now, we have different forms of training. We have general employee awareness. We also have data practitioner training. We also have data practitioner certification courses. We also have data protection officer training. We also have data protection officer certification course. So reach out to our team. We'll tell you the right training you should go for. But it is good you go for the data protection officer certification because that's a national certification. And once you have that certificate, it gives you job opportunities and also make your organization to be compliant. You understand? So we offer such trainings. So reach out to our team. Are all this done for free? And if not, how much? Well, if you notice, our company ends with limited. It means that we are a profit organization. We are not an NGO, right? But we also accommodate organizations that may not be too buoyant enough to primarily afford our services. But reach out to us, we'll give you a price that is inconsistent with your industry and what you can afford. That is consistent with your budget. So we have budget for everyone. Okay, the next question, is it a must to send an appointment letter for a DPO? The DPO details was stated during the registration process. Now, when you engage somebody, it should come with a formal document. So NDPC is saying, show us evidence. How do you show evidence if there's no appointment letter? So I believe you should get the DPO an appointment letter to be compliant. Can we outsource our DPO? If yes, can Flowlist help us? Yes, you can outsource your DPO and you can reach out to Flowlist. We can help you get a DPO, either virtual or physical support. Okay. So keep your questions coming. I see a lot of love. Thank you very much. I believe you are getting value for your time. That is one thing Flowlist is known for. Our training are top notch. Our services are top notch. And our clients enjoy our services, and that's why they keep coming every year. So keep your questions coming. My name remains Daniel. I'm the head of innovation at Flowless. And from the Flowless family, we say a very big thank you to everyone who has made out time to join our YouTube session. Don't forget, this session will be on YouTube. So if you had network issues, you can always replay it, you understand, to get value. So more questions, please. Someone is asking, is it true that Flowless was awarded the best DPCO by NDPC? Yes, it is absolutely true. Yes. Looking at the success and our investment in the data protection ecosystem, were awarded by the NDPC as the best data protection compliance organization in 2024. And that speaks a whole lot about our efforts. And even after then, we've been able to get so many accolades, so many awards. Just recently, Flowless was also awarded as a consulting firm that has made impact in the data protection ecosystem during the second edition of the Data Controllers and Data Processors Conference, which is a gathering of organizations that process data of Nigerians. That is the primary body that sits every year to discuss about data protection as it affects the Nigeria ecosystem. So Flowless also got an award during that event. So thank you very much. Someone is asking, we do not have some of the requirements for filling or tick the box. How do we get them? Reach out to our team, we'll guide you. You understand? Um, we don't spend more than 5 working days to get you your compliance audit returns. So why are you going elsewhere? Stay with Flowless and we'll get it done properly. You understand? So thank you very much. Congratulations to Flowless. Yes, thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you for your support. So I think we're going to end the training at this point. But don't forget, you need to follow us on our social media handles, you understand, to get updates. Because once the NDPC issues any guideline, we try as much as possible to communicate it to our clients. And that is something that we need to do because Nigeria has to protect data and every organization has to understand data protection. And we have that as our mission statement to achieve, you understand, to make sure that data protection becomes a standard that every organization complies with. So thank you everyone who has stayed with us all through. And feel free to reach out to the team, you understand, and we will be much willing to work with you. We are open to every organization, irrespective of your budget. We'll find a way to fit you in and get you compliant. You understand? So thank you and stay data protection